So I was reading the comments of my last video and I saw that a lot of you had very strong opinions on topics I had chosen to talk about. A lot of you left comments, and in this video I'm going to go through them and kind of give my opinions on them and whether that would either help or hurt the community. Leave another comment, let me know my thoughts if you guys think I'm wrong, if you guys have any new thoughts. If you guys are wondering, yeah, I got a new mic and I also got a new mouse, so the clicks might sound a little bit different to you. I'm going to throw both of the mic and the mouse up on the screen right now, that way you guys can see. And yeah, leave a like and subscribe on the video if you enjoy. Thank you. Alright, so firstly, I'm going to sort this by popular comments, just because you guys think that these are some of the most pressing topics. So firstly, we have a comment here from Ayu Suzuni. He said, I haven't played in a long time, but this is my take. Competitive 1.7 PvP will never be revived unless the cheating issue is addressed. The player base has been declining forever because new players don't have fun and quit. And those have been in the comm for a while are quitting, both largely due to cheaters. Unless Lunar brings back client-side AC or MMC has a few dedicated people actively checking logs and banning cheaters, the game is just going to stay stale like it has been for years. I really doubt either of those are going to happen though. I think the boring jump/straight lines playstyle is just a result of having to fully optimize your gameplay at the expense of fun and watchability. But most people playing this way leads to the content being boring and gets rid of new players coming from YouTube and such. Regardless, I think every issue in the comm/vid I read could be fixed, but nothing would change until the majority of the top players aren't cheating. So to this, I have to say, first off, salute MMC, because Doogs actually issued a ban wave the other day, which we saw Soupy DE get banned, Nikoso, and Stained. What they were doing, I don't know, but it was something that got them banned eventually. Put on MMC for actually banning leaderboards players that were cheating. To add on to that, instead of just having staff that are dedicated to actually checking logs, which do exist right now, but they have gotten lazy more recently. But since my video, I have seen a lot of them start to come back again, or not come back again, but to start being more active again in banning those cheaters. It may not be instant, but it's within a day or two. But what I really think they should do is that obviously AGC, anti-gaming share, is a really good anti-cheat, right? The only problem is that it doesn't auto-ban a lot of the time. And I feel like that may be because of how Doogs wants his anti-cheat to be, or not Doogs, sorry, just MMC wants their anti-cheat to be perceived. And rather than letting it false ban occasionally to keep like people who are just blatantly auto-clicking and ranked in like 1300s, 1200s, things like that, they have the auto bans off for that, unless it's a really blatant cheat, like, you know, you're like hopping, something like that, right? They have them off to keep their anti-cheat perceived as only being correct when it bans cheaters. However, you still see in some cases, like my own ban previously this season, right? It was a false ban. They will tell you it's not, but I still have hours and hours of recorded footage of me playing legit with like mouse cam, and I was like ready to prove myself legit the second I came back. I don't know what happened there. What I will say is that false bans are still going to happen whether or not. So just having that conceptual map of like Miami Club's anti-gaming chair, anti-cheat, right, in your head being on like a good or bad side doesn't really matter at this point. All people care about is just having legit players to fight in ranked or in unranked, you know, whatever it is. They kind of made unranked into that kind of ranked style game mode. Like there's leaderboards for unranked now, which is crazy to me, but it's a good idea. It keeps like a casual player engaged. And the other thing is nobody really cares about people cheating anymore, which is bizarre to me, right? Because cheating is bad, you know, don't do it. You should be playing the game because you're having fun, and cheating makes the game less fun. I used to cheat for a while. I would get on, and I would cheat, you know, get my elo up or whatever, and then I would log off and never play again because it was like always just a constant thing in the back of my head, like, oh, I'm gonna get banned, I'm gonna get caught, something like that. So I didn't want to play, and it just wasn't that much fun because I just knew I was going to win. Now I've got a comment here from Blue Extra saying, to revive 1.7 PvP, autoclicking needs to be openly allowed in most servers, or at least on MMC. There has to be nice prizes for top elo players of each region. Some waffle in there, there's some good parts, but number one thing that I was looking at here was the auto-clicking part. Auto-clicking should not ever just be allowed, and my number one problem with how MMC is being ran right now is also that like AC champs is just allowed to like squeeze by. Allowing it so everyone can AC to make like it quote unquote fair is so silly to me. There's another server out here right now, Elevate MC, and on Elevate MC you're pretty much allowed to auto click between like 17 to 18 CPS, something like that. And I cannot fathom how absolutely boring it is to play on that server. It is an amazing product, and the game mode they have there is so much fun, and I like playing it. But when everyone is auto-clicking, it completely eliminates a whole different level of skill. Everyone is just like automatically aim gods. Everyone's clicking the same CPS. It is so boring. If MMC were to ever just be like, okay, everyone can auto-click, I would not be playing. I'm so serious. I have turned down deals with Elevate MC over just like, you guys need to make it so nobody can auto-click. I like shouldn't be allowed. It's incredibly boring to play against. It just becomes like a mindless, just brainless, absolutely just playing on autopilot mode. I would not enjoy that whatsoever. Alright, and we also got a comment from Jay here that says, well, change starts with the servers, and the servers should be partnering with influencers within our community to help push these changes. And I couldn't agree more. You look back at all these channels like Avery, Ideal, Jonah now even, and like Stimpy, they have ranks on servers that allow them to create content that is reaction based. So whether that be like with viewers or streamers, anything like that, it's always going to do really well as long as it's, you know, high quality, well edited, etc. I, as from a content creator standpoint, would love the opportunity to do something like that, and my main club does not have a person like that right now for no debuff. They have it for Fireball Fight, you know, Bed Wars, you know, like Bed Fight, all those types of things, but none for no debuff. And I think that's where we're starting to lack and fall behind. You think back even to big YouTuber ZexyZek, I'm sure somebody in the comments will know who that is. I played his server purely for the idea that I wanted to be clipped by ZexyZek. I wanted to be trolled. That brings in new players, and nobody in no debuff is doing that right now, and I think that's a really big part that we're missing out on that I want to do, even hosting tournaments, things like that. So next I have a comment here from XPT. He says, jump resetting is the worst mechanic to appear, and so late in the game's lifespan too. It completely ruins the flow of both PvP 1.7 Java and Bedrock Edition. If only there was a way to disable it, or some other way to reduce the effectiveness of it. And to this, I have to say, I also saw some other comments saying that there should be a crit cap. I know I've already also had discussions with the My Main Club team, and they are thinking about adding a cap. And I have a couple issues and fears with this, really. Firstly, it's that critting is a normal part of the game. If you guys fight, and like, let's say there's no excessive jumping here, there's nobody's like first hit is being jump right. If you just swing normally, a lower ping player is going to out crit a higher ping player, and odds are, if they're like evenly skilled, that higher ping player is going to out hit the lower ping player. That literally just being because of their ping. They have like those, you know, reach hits, like things like that like backing up, they get that last hit. If you add a crit cap, it makes it so that lower ping player is now at a disadvantage because he won't get those natural crits that they would in the trades. So instead of capping it, one fix I have seen is on newer servers like Cento and Tropic. They have enabled, I don't code, so I can't get into like the really nitpicky of this. What happens is that if a player is in mid-air, after they get that first crit, there is a cooldown, which disables them from getting another crit in succession in the middle of that trade. And so I think that's a really good way to fix jumping on servers at the moment. It makes it so lower ping players will still get those crits that they need in order for that fight to be fair between like the low ping and high ping player. But I do think if crits were to be capped, it may sway the metronome in the favor of high ping players, that they might get a greater advantage out of this. Next, I have a comment here from Mario Kart, and he said, spot on vid, especially the content creation part, fresh, new, actually wanted ideas will always 3 to 10 times your views. So this is a good comment from Mario Kart. He's talking about more the content part. I know he started with like boxing. He played some no debuff here and there on his channel, which, you know, was a big help. But really, what he's saying here is just that like people need to move away from the montages, like I said in my last video, right? Too many people are making these montages, and they literally, I will see at least 10 new ones every single day, and it's just, most of the time it's actually the same song. So it's not even the songs either, it's just the combos are always the same on my club. Part of the reason the content is boring. And then some people took that message in my video as like, oh, I should do an Elo series. And while like, yeah, it's nice to do an Elo series because they actually, most of them do really well. Like even Intense just posted one last night, I believe, and it's doing really well right now. But if that's the problem, if everyone just decides to start doing Elo series, become oversaturated, and then they won't do as well either. So it's a matter of like, you guys, If you want to prove you're the best, do something like weird. Be like, oh, I'm gonna get leaderboards with no pearls, or I'm gonna be, I don't know, I'm gonna try and quick drop everyone without eating food. Like little things like that, or like, oh, if I combo, I have to like snap my head. Like do like weird combos like that. Like no debuff is so stale right now in terms of content that nobody new is gonna look at it and go like, wow, I want to try and do that, because they know they probably can't right off the bat. It's going to take hours and hours. So do something fun that they can just like log on and be like, oh, I want to try and do this, right? Just try something different. It would be fun. So I've got a logger comment here from Litany Likes to Draw. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I will give you guys a summary of it. Pretty much, there's a couple boosters in Elo or something along those lines. These boosters are fighting cheaters, and then, you know, when the cheater gets banned, they get to keep the Elo or something like that. He is saying that on another server, PvP Gym, they have an Elo refund system. To this, I have to say I don't like it. It is way too complicated, and obviously the My Man Club staff aren't always on already. So if they were to put in an automatic system like this, you would see it get abused so easily, whether that be someone loses, you know, a cheater 100 times, and then that cheater gets banned, right? And then he gains, you know, 200 Elo from those fights he lost off the bat, on top of the Elo that he may have already gained fighting legit players. It just wouldn't work very well. It wouldn't give you the result that you're actually looking for. So many servers have like considered this already, and it's just not feasible. It's way too hard to police and control and all that. Here I have another comment from two kind of known players, Hakai7 and SS Tool, and their main comments were about Knockback and how it hasn't changed for the past several years on My Man Club. And to that I kind of have to say yes and no. Yeah, it hasn't changed, but no, it doesn't necessarily need to change right now. I think MMC has kind of nailed it with the KB. You look back 2 years ago, there was all that like short style comment stemming from just how good My Man Club's KB is at getting or being able to hold combos. I think since, you know, those 2 years, that was 2 years ago, right? 2-3 years ago, it has worsened. There have been things like the CPS cap and other things as well, like the hit detection has changed. I think that's made it slightly worse, and it's made it a lot harder for lower ping players to hold combos purely because of the delayed hits. That is my opinion. That is not true. That could change for many other people. My playstyle is very different from others. I personally don't love it from like a getting combos perspective, but I don't think it should change necessarily, because it has changed by them adding the hit detection changes, right? The CPS cap. And for other people's content, you can see it is very good. Like you look at Modifier's videos, you look at some other people's, they can get combos very well. I can't. So that's probably a me problem. But I don't think it should necessarily change just for the sake of changing. If you are going to change it, it would have to be well thought out and pretty good. You don't want to release your season with a shit KB. That's only going to do the server worse right now, especially in no debuffs case. And the last comment I have here is from Fire Special Star, and he says, hear me out. Make My Man Club die and get a new server that cares more about its user base and actually puts effort into it. And to that, I kind of have to just say no, but it's not the right time. Think about it as like a pool, right? So let's say My Man Club is the player pool, and then you have Arcane, Velt, you know, Mine HQ. These are just examples, right? KPP, Elevate. Now you have 7 servers that is taking away from everybody playing at one main network. And while like these owners, you know, may be looking for like their cash grabs and things like that, I wouldn't necessarily say let's split everyone up. You kind of want everyone together right now. You want the known players to kind of grow together, get to know each other, and then they can make content with each other, fighting each other on one network, one server, rather than everyone be split up and nobody know each other, and then it just kind of continues to die, because as one server dies, that section of the player base may no longer play, when rather if you have everyone in one network, you're kind of pushing it up together rather than spreading it apart and making it faulty. I would not advocate for another server right now, purely because there's too many things that go wrong. So I think having it on one server with one main core idea is a lot stronger.